Over time in my life, I've developed a very simple thought process when it comes to relationships and how I want to develop my relationship with my own spouse. And I call it the spoon, the knife, and the cup. First, with the spoon. The spoon, the idea behind it is you are feeding each other, right? Meaning that if I'm coming to the table with XYZ thing, my wife is also coming to the table to compliment me on what I'm bringing to the table. It's not that I'm bringing everything to the table or she's bringing everything to the table and I am not putting my spoon in her mouth, right? I am not feeding her. That is so vitally important that I almost feel people forget that, yes, there is a table, right? And when you bring things to the table with each other, you bring a sense of calm, a sense of understanding, a sense that this person will feed me in times that are hard. The next one is the knife. You should never be bringing the knife to the table, okay? And here's what I mean by that. You should never be operating with your spouse with the intent to cause malice or cause harm. Knives cut, right? You should never be looking to cut your spouse. You should never have a knife on the table. You should, as the person on the other side of the table, always assume that the other person is not bringing a knife if you're being honest with each other. If you're being honest with each other and you're saying, I am here to feed you, I am not here to cut you. So when you lean over and give that spoon to that person, they should not see a knife come up and hit them in the hand. That kind of concept. Just picture it, right? That is my philosophy. My wife and I do not operate with the other's person having ill intent. Because the second you start operating like that, especially if you come from some sort of previous traumatic relationship where you're trying to work through it and you always think that the next hammer is about to drop or the next knife is about to cut you up because you've had so many bad experiences before or one really bad experience, you start developing the thought process of when is the knife coming out? When am I going to get stabbed? And you can't operate like that. So never bring the knife. The next one is the most cliche of them all. It is the cup. You always want to fill the other person's cup, whatever that is needed for that cup, right? So if my wife, for example, came to me the other day and said, I am drained, I am tired, I know your new job has you in the office every single day, working late, but I need help. I adjusted because I saw my wife's cup was running low. So I refilled that cup. I did more to try to make sure that her cup is filled. And she's making sure that my cup is filled because I have very little to worry about when I leave the home. I know my wife's got it, right? And when she leaves the home, which is pretty rare because she doesn't, my wife's a homebody, but it's pretty rare. When she leaves the home, she knows, I got it. You don't have anything to worry about. And I think that's vitally important. Fill each other's cup. When you see that cup is running low, you gotta fill the cup. Otherwise, the cup runneth dry and that relationship will then wither away. So again, spoon, knife, cup.